Hello and welcome. We're about to talk about map. Let's get right to it. We have two arrays here, norm array and platformers array. The norm array has numbers in it. So here's an element, it's the number 1. An element is the number 4, an element is the number 2, and so on. The platformers array is an array of objects. So an element in here is this entire object. An element here is this entire object, and the third element is this entire object. They're zero indexed, so the norm array has this number 1 here will be indexed at 0. Number 4 will be indexed at 1. Number 2 will be indexed at 2. And that's how that would work. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Same thing goes for here. This first element in the array is element 0. This is element 1. This is element 2. So let's use our map to return a new array according to our specifications, and we'll call it const doubled nums, and that will equal norm array dot map. Now we'll open up the function of dot map, and the first thing I'll say is el. Now, this could be anything. It doesn't have to be EL. I just said the word element several times, meaning pieces of the array. This is an element, this is an element, this is an element. So I'm using EL. You could use anything you want. You could use YT or VVV, anything that you want here. It does not matter. I'm going to use element. So we're going to map, we're going to take an element, and we're going to return back the element multiplied by 2. Now we can console.log the doubled nums, and we could see we have all the elements multiplied by 2. 1 is now 2, 4 is now 8, 2 is now 4, 7 is now 14, and 8 is now 16. Now let's put this to work on the more complicated platformers array that has objects. So this array of objects would work a little bit differently. So let's use a const names and set that equal to platformers.map. Again, just taking the element, and remember what that is in the array. The element is going to be just each object within the array. Meaning, in order to get the names, I'll do my fat arrow and I will say element.name, the property in the array that I want. And now I should have an array of just the name. So console dot log, and then we'll do names. Mario, Luigi, and Peach. So that worked properly there, and you see what happened is it took an element, and then we went to dot and the property that we wanted, which was name, and it went through all of them, iterated through all of these, and gave us back a new array that was just the names as strings right here. Now, what if we want, instead of this, let's call it const ate a, make sure it's one word, ate a mushroom. So platformers.map, it's going to bring back the element.name, and I'm going to do a little bit of string interpolation here. So bring up your backtick in front of this. That's the button over tab or to the left of the number 1. Put up a $sign, open curly braces, close curly braces after it, put your backtick at the end. So we'll have the name, and then we'll say is, and then we'll get the size, which will be a $sign, open close curly braces, element.size to access the size property, and then we'll say pixels tall. Let's take a look at ate a mushroom. Mario is 7 pixels tall, Luigi is 5 pixels tall, and Peach is 4 pixels tall. But they did eat mushrooms, so they should be bigger. So we can still do math right here if we want. So I'm multiplying that by 2, and we have Mario is now 14 pixels tall, Luigi is 10 pixels tall, and Peach is 8 pixels tall. Now there's another way that we could use this and get the same result. So I'm going to get rid of this, and we will have, let's do a const called ate a big mushroom, and this can be our function. So we'll do our function. It will take in EL for element, and then it will return basically what we just had. But it's good to practice. So let's get our backticks out again, get our $sign, open and close, and then element dot name is $ open close element dot size times, it's a big mushroom. Let's do times 4 pixels tall. And we could just return this. Okay, now when we have const mushroom contact, we'll call it. We came into contact with a mushroom. That'll be equal to platformers.map, and in here we'll just pass in 8a big mushroom. After that, console.log mushroom contact. There we go. Now Mario is 28 pixels. I meant pixels. Pixels tall. Luigi is 20 pixels tall, and Peach is 16 pixels tall. Let's do this one more way, and we're not using map here, but I want to illustrate how we can do pretty much anything with a for loop. So learning for loops is more important than learning anything else. If you want to learn filter, map, anything like that, you could do all of it with a for loop. So we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to do a for loop. So instead of map, maybe I'll put it, how about above? We'll call this for loop. Let's make a let shrink platformers. So this is our shrink platformers array, and we're going to do a for loop. I'm going to turn off live mode for a moment so nothing gets messed up. Let I equal 0, while I is less than platformers.length. So until I equals platformers.length, I plus. Iterate I upward, and it's starting at 0. And remember what we said here. Arrays are 0 indexed. So this number 1 is at array point 0. This number 4 is at array point 1. So here, Mario is at array point 0 in this object. Luigi is in array point 1 in this object. Let's go ahead and push into shrink platformers dot push. So before we do it, we'll discuss what push is doing. If I want to push into an array, what I'm doing is adding to the end of the array. I'm appending into the array, some might say. So I'm adding to the end of it. If I put the number 2 here, 2 gets added to the array. Now, if after that I put the number 3 in, it would comma and put 3 in there. That's how push works. It's going to add whatever you want to the end of the array. And we defined this empty array here, and we're going to push the values of platformers at I, and then dot name. And that would just push all the names in. But we want to do what we did last time. So I'm going to put the backticks up. We're going to wrap platformers.name, and then say is, and then it was platformers at I dot size, close that up, pixels tall. And let's shrink them, so we will divide by 2. Now let's go ahead and see if we had the same sort of functionality by console.log shrink platformers. Oh, I'm console.logging 8a mushrooms. Oh, no, I'm not live. That would be why. Perfect. Okay, Mario is 3.5 pixels tall, Luigi is 2.5 pixels tall, and Peach is 2 pixels tall. So we learned quite a bit about map right there, and I'm going to do other videos about maybe for each, which I really like, and a filter is very, very important as well. I'm looking to do async await, so just let me know what you're looking for, leave it in the comments, and I'm making a few videos here, kind of like a JavaScript Tool Kit, so we can get into more complicated stuff, more complicated projects in the future. Thanks for being with me on this one, and I'll see you on the next one.